as I set the camera down to film, I lost one of my fancy nails. Oh well. I just needed to film a quick little video because I'm not quite ready. It's only like, what day is it? Hold on. I'm not prepared. It's okay. I put all my effort into my makeup and no effort like into preparing for this video. It's the 22nd of November, so I'm not ready to film my November wrap up, but I need to film something to get ahead, because right after Thanksgiving, I'm going back to work. So what am I filming? What is this video? This is my series I need to finish or continue. And I've got a list of 13 series that I'm in the process of reading or rereading. We'll get into it. Okay, first one is I need to finish the Book of Dust duology. That is the companion series to His Dark Materials. I need to finish the second book, The Secret Commonwealth. This was kind of on my hopeful TBR for Tome Topple, and I did not get to most books on that list, I think. But this was on that list. This is on my hopeful list for the end of the year. We'll see. Things are not looking good, but they're not looking terrible either. You know, it's like if I don't finish this by the end of the year, I'll finish it in January. And then that series will be finished until I feel ready to reread it. The next series I need to finish is the Greenbone Saga. I did reread Jade City, I think slightly before Tome Topple or during Tome Topple, around then. But I did not make it onto Jade War, and then, you know, if I don't get to Jade War, then I'm not getting to Jade Legacy by the end of the year. But that's another series that's like, I don't know if I'll make it by the end of the year, but I'll probably get to it in like very beginning of next year. So we'll get to that soon. The next series is the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers. I have read the first 2 books in the series, and I totally meant to write the titles in my notes, and I didn't. So you're just gonna have photos of the next 2 books in that series. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Great. Next series that I need to continue with, because now I think finally all of the books are out, and that is the Legends of the Condor series. So I'm hopefully going to reread A Hero Born very soon. I read this for Translate-a-thon in December of last year, and I'll probably reread it for Translate-a-thon this year, so that then I can continue on with A Bond Undone, and then I've got books 3 and 4 on my Christmas wish list, so maybe I'll get to those soon. Hopefully by the end of next year, because I kind of was putting off rereading them because this time last year I don't think all of the translations had been published yet, but I think they've all been published now. Anyway, a series I would like to continue. And so far, all of these series have been new to me series. This is now a series that I am rereading. I need to continue on with, what is this series called? Is it just called the Leviathan series? Fairly recently on my Amnesia Reads project, I reread the first book in the series, which is Leviathan, and I actually enjoyed it. So now I've got Behemoth by Scott Westerfield. This is a middle grade alternate sci-fi steampunk history of World War I, where you have like the Axis powers are the clankers that deal with like mechanical things, and then the allies are the Darwinists who have really leaned into evolution in place of machines. So they have, you know, flying leviathans, and they've got you know, a lot of animals that have been bred to basically replace the role of machines. And I thought the world was interesting. I have the first 2 books, and I'm keeping my eye out for the 3rd one in a thrift store. So, quick reads, fun illustrations. I liked it, so I'd like to finish the series out. The next series that I got 4 or 5 books in, and then just stopped, was rereading the Dresden Files. I had reread this series like 10 years ago. I had read this series up until like book 11 or 12. The one right before Ghost Stories. I had read that far in the series like 10 years ago and enjoyed it. And now I was rereading it, and the sexism in it was kind of... I noticed it more this time. So I've just been taking a break from it, but I want to at least get to where he acquires his dog, which I think is book 7. And I think the next book I need to read is book 5. So I'd like to return to that series at some point, but I'm not going to push it. I'm gonna read it when I'm in the mood, because the good thing about that series is it's not that they can be read as standalones, but each story is fairly self-contained, and anything that's important from previous books they do kind of summarize. So that is a series that I think is very approachable in terms of if it's been a long time between reading books, it's fine to pick them up. A couple of romance series. I've started like the first in a lot of series of romances, and not really... I've only finished one like romance series, I think. But here's 3 that are kind of like top of my list. The first one is the Maiden Lane series. The next book I need to read is number 7. And this is actually, what time period is this? Is this Regency? I don't know. I think it's Regency. And kind of the hook of this series is in book 4, we get introduced basically to Regency Batman, which is what's his name? The Ghost of St. Giles. And, you know, not every book centers the Ghost of St. Giles, but I know that later on we get other kind of vigilante figures. And I like the series, I think, because often the characters and the pairings are a mix of, like, nobility and, like, lower middle class. And it's just really interesting to, like, see the different power dynamics in those relationships. Anyway, I've been enjoying it. I'm definitely going to continue with that series. The next one is the Thornchapel series, which has the very iconic A Lesson in Thorns for the first book. And then Feast of Sparks is book 2. And then Harvest of Sighs is book 3. And I don't remember the name of the 4th one. I kind of took a break from it because the end of book 2 revealed some incestuous aspects to a relationship. It's accidental incest, and I'm curious to see how it's going to progress in the other books, but I think I'm also like, it's not a hook that grabs me. Like, I'm curious to see how it's going to resolve, but it's not like I must see how it's resolved. I'm so curious. It's more like, now what? I did enjoy the first 2, and I did really like the kind of... They are like dark romance books that definitely have a dark academia vibe without being set in it at an academic institution. I have a video idea of trying to find and read a collection of books that kind of fit the nebulous dark academia vibe that are not based around academic institutions. So, anyway, I'll get to those at some point. And then a series, I've just finished the first book. I just finished the first book in the Tempting Monsters series, with the first book being A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. And I really enjoyed it. It was much more sweet than I was expecting. But yeah, I really enjoyed the world. I think there's 3 books in that series, and I'd like to read the other 2. I think I've heard that they follow different manors. They don't... manors, the homes, the houses. They don't necessarily keep following the same characters, which I'm kind of bummed because, like, the ending of the first book... Well, okay, never mind. I'll talk about this in my November wrap-up. But I'm curious if, by not following the same characters, am I going to love the other 2 books in the series as much as I enjoy the first one. We shall see. Another series I'd like to continue that I just read the first book on first book in grammar, is the series from The Beautiful. I read this in my vampire fiction reading vlog. I had a great time with this, and the third book just came out, and I think the fourth book is scheduled to come out sometime next year. So I feel like this is a series where I don't want to wait too long between reading all of the books, so I don't think I'm going to continue with this right away, at least until we have like a publication date for the fourth book. But this is one that I do want to get to in the near future. Okay, and then I've got two series here that are technically rereads, so I feel good about getting to them whenever, but I do want to get through them in the near-ish future, next couple of years. First off is the Den of Shadows series by Amelia Atwater Rhodes. I read In the Forest of the Night, also for that vampire fiction reading vlog. I really enjoyed it. And then I've got through book 4. So I've got Demon in My View, Shattered Mirror, and Midnight Predator. So I definitely want to get through these 4, I guess like in the next year. And then I looked up the series, and it looks like the books actually go up to book 9. Which is interesting. I would like to continue on with the series, because the first book, In the Forest of the Night, the author wrote that when she was 13? Yeah, she wrote the first book when she was 13. So I'm very curious to see how her writing style has evolved as she has grown up. She also has another series that I think deals with like animal shapeshifters, which I don't think I've read any of those books from that series. But I remember enjoying this series a lot in high school. I enjoyed rereading this, and I would like to at least reread the ones I have to decide whether I want to invest my time in the rest of the series. Okay, so another series that's mostly a reread is finishing up The Wrinkle of Time quintet. So I recently reread, well, I sort of reread A Wrinkle in Time. I read it in Spanish recently, but I've read A Wrinkle in Time half a dozen times over my lifetime. So it really inspired me that I really, really loved that first book. And I know that I've read the next 3 books. And the only one I really remember is Many Waters. So anyway, the next 3 books are, let's see, the next one is A Wind in the Door. And this is illustrated by one of my favorite cover illustrators, which is Peter Siss. I really enjoy this art style. If I ever get around to filming some of my favorite book covers video, I will show you what other books of his I have that have this art style. So the next one in the series the next one in the series is A Wind in the Door. And then we have A Swiftly Tilting Planet with this fabulous vintage sci-fi cover. Then we have Many Waters, which is the only one that I really remember the story of. Many Waters it features the twins. What are their names? Sandy and Dennis. And they get transported back in time to the time of Noah when he's building the ark. And the story is interesting. And I remember the depiction of that series of events as being very interesting. So I'd like to revisit that. And then I recently acquired An Acceptable Time, which I think is the only book in the quintet that I haven't read. So I need to get through the ones that I have read and don't really remember, so I can finally get to the one that I haven't read. And then hopefully be able to talk about the series as a whole. Hurrah. Okay, and the last series I need to continue is the graphic novel of Saga. I'm pretty sure I've read volume 2 at some point that I borrowed from my friend, but that was like 10 years ago. So I recently reread volume 1. I really enjoy it. I need to get my hands on more from the series and continue on with it. I have no idea if this series is finished, but I know that there's like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 volumes out there now. So, I'd like to continue with this. And one that I I forgot to put in here. So there's actually 14 series. I would like to continue the Wicked and the Divine graphic novel series. I'll put a picture of it here. So that's a mix of new to me series I'm well in the middle of, series I'm rereading, things I want to reread soon, things I want to reread in the next year, things I want to reread in the things I want to read in the next year, things I want to read in the next couple of years. This should keep me going for a while. It'll be interesting to like check in at the end of next year to see what progress I've made on this. Very, very loose TBR. I guess that's what this is. It's a very loose TBR for the next year. Interesting. That was an accident. Let me know if you've read any of these series or if any of these are on your loose TBR for the nearish future. Let's chat in the comments. You know what? If you've made it this far in the video and you don't really want, and you want to comment but don't really know what to say, leave me a rose emoji in honor of the beautiful series. Anyway, that's the video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I encourage you to go out into the world and be curious. I will have my social media and other places where you can find me in the description box below, and I will catch you folks in my next video. Bye!